Hello and good morning. I welcome you to this session of Introduction to Python Programming. In all these videos that I'm going to share with you, I'll be discussing the Python programming language in detail, starting from the very basics to complex programming. So let us start today's session. Guys, I am Ajay Sharma, Associate Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Amritsar College of Engineering and Technology, Amritsar. And I'll be discussing with you the Python programming. So let's begin with the preliminaries. What actually Python is? Uh, Python is a general purpose programming language that is often applied in scripting roles. It is commonly defined as an object-oriented scripting language, a definition that blends support for OOPs with an overall orientation towards scripting roles. To understand what the Python philosophy is, you can try a command import this. How to run this command and how to run the other programming basics for Python that I'll discuss in today's video. Let me begin by discussing first that why we should use Python. See, Python has software quality, has developer productivity, program portability, support libraries, component integration, and of course, entertainment. So obviously you would be curious at who all is using Python nowadays. Google makes extensive use of Python in its web search systems. The Raspberry Pi single board computer promotes Python as its educational language. Uh, Google's App Engine web development framework uses Python. The NSA uses Python for cryptography and intelligence analysis. The list is endless. So that should inspire us to use Python for our own purpose. Obviously, the questions which come to mind would be, what can I do with Python? You can do systems programming, you can do graphic user interface, internet scripting, you can do component integration, database programming, rapid prototyping. Uh, Rapid prototyping means you can start making a prototype in Python and then you can shift to C language because developing or building prototypes is easier in Python. Once you begin a prototype, you can easily shift to C because of the portability of your programs. And you can do a lot of work in numeric and scientific programming, and the list is endless. You can do gaming, images, data mining, robots. Now, how is this Python developed and supported? There is something known as the Python Software Foundation. It's a formal non-profit group which organizes conferences and deals with intellectual property issues. Numerous Python conferences are held around the world. O'Reilly's, OSCON, and the PSF's PyCon are the largest. So that means Python is free software, is an open source software. You don't need a license to run it, and it is being maintained by a body known as Python Software Foundation. But as with the cases with the open source software, there are some issues related with them. Obviously, at times it may appear chaotic and even resemble anarchy at times, and may not be always be as smoothly implemented. Simply because it is not licensed, not a lot of money is being pumped into it so that we see everything works properly in Python. Continuous improvement is there by this Python Software Foundation group, and but then it can certain things may go wrong at times. And open source projects, you see, exchange commercial interests for the personal preferences of a current set of developers. See, since there are no license, no commercial interests involved, so people who are managing it, it would be their personal preference how they put the software in front of you. So you're not held hostage by a company to which you are paying, but you are at the mercy of those with spare time to change the system. So open source softwares have their own problems, but then you don't spend money with them. And of course, Python is an excellent software, and continuous improvement is there by the developers and the team that the Python Software Foundation to make it as simple as possible always. Now, what are Python's technical strengths? Number one, it's object oriented and functional. That means you can write a lot of functions in Python so that the modularity is there. Most importantly, I think it's free, it's portable. You can run it on any operating system very easily. It's powerful, it's mixable. That means you can start working in Python, you can shift to C, you can shift to Java. It's relatively easy to use, it is relatively easy to learn. So these are the technical strengths. And you see, Python is named after Monty Python. And you may see a lot of logos of reptiles on Python books. The truth is that Python is named after the British comedy group Monty Python, makers of the 1970s BBC comedy series Monty Python's Flying Circus. And Python's original creator was, a fan of Monty Python. So are the many software developers. That's why it carries its name from there. Now, the first thing, the first technical aspect is that how a Python program runs. Okay, so two things are there. There is something known as a Python interpreter, and there is something known as a Python virtual machine. So the program that you start writing in any language, of course, is known as a source code. So you must have a .py extension for the programs that you write in Python. And the first thing is that it is first compiled into an intermediate code known as a bytecode. Okay, and this bytecode, as we can see, let's switch. No. Okay, I'll just tell you this bytecode is an intermediate code and is stored with an extension .pyc. Okay, it's stored in a directory known as underscore pycache underscore. And once this bytecode is there, like this bytecode is a faster way of running your Python programs. And this once that this bytecode has been developed, then your interpreter can just loop through this thing, your bytecode, and run your program. So it's as simple to run programs in Python. So basically, it is first compiled and then it is interpreted. And the environment where all this happens is known as the Python virtual machine. Now, Python comes in various flavors. I'm just mentioning a few standard flavors. C Python is there. You can call it C Python or simply Python. Then J Python or Jython. Iron Python, that is a Python you can work in the .NET framework. J Python or Jython is the Python which you work in the Java framework. And C Python, the name it derives because the Python has been written in C language. If you need to work with concurrent transactions, then you can work with the stackless flavor of Python. And since Python is an interpreter based language, so it is definitely slower than the compiler based languages like C and C++. So to get some more speed in your Python code, you can use the PyPy flavor of Python. Now, how you run Python programs? This is important. There are many ways in which you can run your Python programs. And I'll be discussing all this in my next video. Till then, keep watching. Thank you.